It's 2:20 p.m. of November 2025. Tensions in the Caribbean Sea reach a boiling point. For years, the United States has maintained strict surveillance of drug trafficking routes and illegal arms shipments passing near Venezuelan waters. But this time, the mission takes a deadly turn. When a U.S. Coast Guard patrol vessel enters international waters near Venezuela's maritime border, an unexpected confrontation erupts, one that shocks both nations and the world. For months, the Venezuelan government has accused the United States of violating its sovereignty, claiming American ships and aircraft have been conducting covert espionage operations. Meanwhile, Washington insists its missions are lawful and focused only on regional security. Political tension turns into military readiness. Both sides quietly mobilize. The Venezuelan Navy, though smaller in scale, positions several of its patrol warships and corvettes in the Caribbean. Among them, the Guaiquerí-class frigate, Venezuela's most advanced surface combatant, armed with anti-ship missiles and short-range air defense systems. The U.S., however, maintains unmatched dominance in the region. A nearby U.S. Navy task force monitors the situation, while Coast Guard cutters continue their regular patrols, unaware that within hours, they will become targets. It's 2:14 a.m. The U.S. Coast Guard vessel USCGC Hamilton is on routine patrol near the maritime boundary. Suddenly, radar picks up fast-moving contact approaching from Venezuelan waters. The crew attempts radio communication, but there's no response. Within minutes, two Venezuelan missile boats lock onto the U.S. cutter with targeting radar. The situation escalates rapidly. Despite repeated warnings, one of the Venezuelan boats fires a short-range missile, barely missing the Hamilton by a few hundred meters. The explosion lights up the night sky. For the first time in decades, a direct hostile act has been committed against a U.S. military vessel in the Western Hemisphere. The Hamilton's captain issues a distress call, and U.S. Southern Command authorizes immediate defensive action. Within 30 minutes, F/A-18 Super Hornets from the USS George H.W. Bush Carrier Strike Group roar into the night sky. Their mission: neutralize any Venezuelan naval threat near the engagement zone. The Venezuelan government claims the U.S. violated its territorial waters, but evidence soon proves otherwise. Satellite data shows the attack occurred well within international waters. Washington's response is swift and precise by dawn. The U.S. Navy launches a precision strike operation, codenamed Operation Sentinel Tide. U.S. Navy destroyers lock onto Venezuelan targets using advanced Aegis radar systems. Two Venezuelan warships, the Guaiquerí and Yekuana, are located just off the coast near La Guaira. Within minutes, Tomahawk cruise missiles are launched. High-resolution surveillance drones record the strikes with chilling accuracy. The missiles hit their targets with devastating precision. The Guaiquerí is crippled, its engines destroyed, and the ship begins to list heavily to port. The Yekuana suffers multiple secondary explosions before sinking beneath the Caribbean waves. Two Venezuelan warships are lost in under 15 minutes. The message is clear: the United States will not tolerate aggression against its forces. The world watches in disbelief as news of the confrontation spreads. Social media explodes with footage of burning ships and intercepted radio transmissions. The United Nations calls for immediate de-escalation, while Washington issues a formal statement. The United States acted in self-defense after an unprovoked attack on its personnel. Meanwhile, Venezuelan state media declares the U.S. strike as an act of imperial aggression. Fears of a larger war rise overnight. The U.S. mobilizes additional forces in the Caribbean, guided missile destroyers, surveillance aircraft, and Marines from the 2nd Expeditionary Unit. Venezuela activates its air defense systems and moves troops to protect coastal installations. However, their limited capability stands no match for U.S. technology. In Washington, intelligence analysts assess Venezuela's remaining naval and air assets, most outdated and vulnerable to precision strikes. Inside the Pentagon, military strategists discuss the next move. The objective is not war, but deterrence. High-level diplomatic channels are opened through neutral countries, urging Venezuela to stand down. U.S. satellites continue to monitor every naval movement near Caracas. The situation hangs in the balance. One wrong decision could ignite a full-scale regional conflict. After 48 tense hours, Venezuela signals its intent to halt all naval operations near international waters. A fragile ceasefire takes hold. The U.S. Coast Guard resumes patrol with heavy escort protection. No further engagements are reported. Behind closed doors, secret talks begin under UN supervision to prevent further clashes in the Caribbean. Military analysts call the engagement a textbook example of American rapid response capability. Despite being attacked unexpectedly, the U.S. managed to neutralize 2 hostile warships with minimal casualties and 0 losses. The incident underscores the gap in technology, training, and readiness between the U.S. Navy and its regional adversaries. It also sends a powerful message. Even a limited strike against U.S. forces will draw an overwhelming response. In Venezuela, the loss of 2 warships sparks outrage and political tension. Protests erupt in Caracas, while the government blames foreign interference. Internationally, allies of both sides urge restraint. The Organization of American States calls for independent investigation, but the evidence remains clear. The Venezuelan Navy initiated the attack. Meanwhile, Washington strengthens alliances with Colombia, Panama, and other regional partners to increase maritime security. The U.S. Coast Guard expands its patrol range, ensuring no repeat of such incidents. The conflict serves as a brutal reminder that in modern warfare, even a small mistake can trigger devastating consequences. Technology, intelligence, and rapid communication are now the decisive tools of power projection. The U.S. demonstrates that it can dominate any theater, land, air, or sea, within hours of engagement. For Venezuela, the cost of aggression proves catastrophic. As the Caribbean Sea returns to calm, the world reflects on how close it came to another regional war. The attack on the U.S. Coast Guard could have spiraled into a prolonged conflict, but swift action and precise strategy prevented further escalation. Both nations retreat from the brink, their forces watching each other across silent waters. In the end, history will remember this as the Caribbean incident of 2025, a brief but powerful reminder of America's unmatched maritime dominance and the cost of challenging it. The ocean may look peaceful again, but beneath the waves, the tension remains, waiting for the next move in the endless chess game of global power.